because it was like a week before we started our February vacation. I had a swim meet and I gained almost 30 seconds on my time. So I just felt really weird because like I'd been trying so much harder, and I couldn't even stay for the whole meet because I got so tired. So that was kind of the first thing we noticed, is I was really tired. I got bruised so easily. Like I'd have huge bruises on my legs, and I was really pale.
Olivia's my 11-year-old daughter. She's my pride and joy, and she's a grade 6 student at Biddeford Academy. She's an overachiever in school. She's athletic. She's every dad's dream. Yeah. We were away for the 2-week break in February, so we went away for the first week to Sunday River skiing. And Olivia's a great skier. She's an avid skier. And noticed during that week that she was tired, and there were kids, met a lot of kids from our area that were there that had flus, and I just chalked it up for the flu. And our second week we were going to Puerto Rico, so we drove to Boston and we flew to Puerto Rico. And we thought with the sunshine and the beach, and where she's an avid swimmer, she would pick right back up. And she got a little sicker when we were down there. She was getting pale and she wasn't eating a lot. And you're in a foreign country, and you're wondering, well, do we take her somewhere here to try and get her checked out? And she wasn't terrible at that point, but as the week went on, she started to get even sicker, where her back was bothering her. She said her left leg felt like it was broken, and she was having difficulty walking. Then we were about 2 days away from coming back.
She just was not getting any better, and she was just getting more tired and having a hard time walking. And you got this feeling in the pit of your stomach that it was more than a virus. And what's going on with your child that is normally so active and fun and just up for everything.
And then sort of towards the last day, the last sort of 2 days, I couldn't sit up because my back, I get really lightheaded, and then my tailbone started hurting like crazy all through the night, and it would just get really, really bad. And then sort of the last day, I just couldn't walk, because when I try, I could take like 2 steps, and it felt like all the muscles were being ripped out of my leg and my bone was snapping in two, which was kind of the worst day for it, because it was the day we were trying to get through the airport, so it was really hard to walk around in it.
We got back into Bedford on Saturday and came right here, and triage just really, we waited about 10 minutes, and the triage nurse just looked at her, and even then you're still thinking, oh, I'm overreacting, she's so healthy, they're just gonna say it is a virus or something. But the triage nurse just looked at her and said, no, we're gonna admit her, she doesn't look good. And they did blood work, and probably within maybe an hour, they came back and they said, well, we know why she's so tired and we know why she looks like this, but we haven't gotten all the numbers back and the figures. And about a half an hour after that, the doctors, the emergency doctors came and asked us to come out and meet them in another room, and told us she had leukemia.
So that was a very difficult time, and I remember being in the emergency department, and she looked at me with her big brown eyes and said she was scared. We all were. So it was very difficult. And since that time, we've seen her go through a lot of tough treatment, but you can't help but be impressed by her strength and her determination. And what was a very difficult time has now become a source of inspiration. We see her beating this every day.
And she asked what she had, and we just said, honey, you have a disease in your blood, and it's called leukemia, and they know how to cure it. but you're going to be here for a while. You have to stay in the hospital. And she was really good. She asked a few more questions. That night she really was sick. She was really tired, and she didn't ask a lot of questions, but she just said, okay, well, she was amazing. And even all through this, not once has she ever said, why me? You know, there's not been any kind of self-pity. It's just always been, okay, well, if that's what I've got to do, that's what I've got to do. And she's not had an easy go of it. She's had a lot of complications along the way, and every cycle she's gotten an infection and had to fight back from it, but she's been amazing.
You know, that was a very difficult time, but we see every day her getting stronger. Again, we see the resources at this hospital. We see the commitment that the physicians at this hospital, including obviously Dr. Berman, have in terms of treating this disease. And you know, anytime she's become quite sick, they have jumped on it and they've gotten her better. And you can't ask for anything more than that. And I always tell the story of when we came in just a few days after she had been diagnosed, and they determined or found out that she had this large leukemic tumor wrapped around her spine. That was part of the reason why she couldn't walk and was having all these problems in her left leg. And that morning, they did an emergency MRI at 9:30 in the morning. They had the results at 10:30 in the morning. They had spoken to a neurosurgeon between 10:30 and 11 and said, well, it can't be treated operably. At 11:15, we were meeting with a radiation specialist who said, we can knock this out with radiation, which was a tremendous relief. Then 3 o'clock that afternoon, we were over at the Cancer Center over at the Dixon building for a CAT scan, and at 4:30 she had her first radiation treatment. Quite frankly, you can't get better healthcare delivery than that. I mean, that was people that were committed to getting her better, and with the radiation, she is, you know, they've knocked out the tumor in her low back, and you know, she has stiffness in her leg, and she'll be back in action soon, walking again. And you know, it really, when I saw that firsthand, I was just blown away by what the hospital, the IWK, the commitment they have to the kids here.
Every time something's happened, they've caught it really quick. Because I got a line infection one time, they caught it so fast, and then that was fixed, and I got C. diff twice, and they caught that every time, and then my belly got bloated, and one day it was really bad, and the nurse, they had everything done by 12 o'clock that afternoon. It's amazing, because the chemotherapy is so hard on everybody. It'd be so nice just to see one that, you know, only targets like one cell, like the bad cells, or even just white blood cells for me in my case.
Definitely Dr. Berman and the other oncologists here are definitely the silver lining. I mean, they're so compassionate. And, you know, my husband and I definitely were we were like zombies. I mean, we just didn't know whether we were coming or going, and we didn't know the right questions to ask, and we certainly didn't know what was available or what to expect, and they were wonderful. And Dr. Berman was just, yeah, he's a great man.
I instantly felt at ease with him. He came in, I still remember, I tell this story about, he came into our room and he had looked at Olivia's chromosomes for the type of AML that she had, because while it's AML, there's a multitude of different types of AML. And he had slides, and he had the pictures of the chromosomes. He had everything at his disposal, the latest studies that were done. And you instantly feel at ease because you see someone who's so passionate about fighting AML. And we have them, you know. Obviously I don't know all the doctors in the world, but I can't think of a better one that would be fighting this disease for my daughter. He was excited, he was energized, he was passionate. You see the energy and the passion that he has to fight this disease. He's fighting it with vengeance.